I'll share this one
Cool.
with a couple
And then
groups.
so you post this on Facebook, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Right on.
Yeah, so it's just a Facebook Live, and then it'll go on my YouTube channel too.
Gotcha. How long is it for about anyways?
How long's what?
How long are the interviews typically usually?
Like 30 to 45 minutes. We're live already.
Oh, sweet. All right, perfect.
What you been up to though, bro? How's COVID been treating you?
Well, you know what? Honestly, good. We haven't had any issues, but we've had some friends that have gotten it. Actually, got my mother-in-law, her good friend, pastor, died. So,
Really?
I know. Yeah, I know some people think it's a hoax, but yeah, we know some people that have actually passed away from it. So, there's a restaurant owner here in Scottsdale. He's 41. He passed away too. So, I mean, I know the mortality rate isn't that high. It's low. It's like maybe 5%, but still, it's still dangerous.
I'm sorry to
So
hear
it's
that.
kind of crazy.
Yeah. I'm waiting for this video to pop up so we can start sharing it to a couple groups. There we go. How's business been?
It's been good. Actually, we've done better since the coronavirus. I think just a lot of people are motivated to sell. So we've actually done more deals than normal. So it was a little tough when Corona first hit. It was challenging. It got really difficult. But since then, it's actually gone better. We're just more interest in selling. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. 1 minute. How is you're in James Hodges' mastermind still, right? How you like it?
Yeah. Actually, it just ended. It's really good, man. With them, I was just really curious as to what they did because they have such a small team and they're doing like, 200,000 a month, 150 to 200,000. They do really well. And for such a small team, I was like, man, what are they doing? So I wanted to learn more about their techniques and strategies. And it's really not a whole lot different from what other people do. They really niched into a certain thing, and they're good at picking markets as well.
Right.
So, but they're smart guys. They're very strategic, very analytical.
Okay. So we'll introduce. You want to introduce yourself for me real quick? This is my friend Vic.
Yeah, sure. My name is Victor Heredia. Company is American Home Solutions here, based in Phoenix.
Awesome. And what do? You primarily wholesale, correct?
Primarily wholesale. Yeah, we started wholesaling a little bit, but primarily wholesale.
What's that wholesaling been like? What made you decide to do
it? Just because the margins are better. So if we start coming across a property that doesn't really need that much work, we'll just go in there, we'll trash it out, clean it up, make it look a little bit nicer, do some minor cosmetic improvements, and then just list it. Okay. So we just, to be honest, a lot of guys are doing it. So we started looking into it, and that's why we're doing it. There's actually some guys in other states that are actually listing. I got my kids there in the background that are actually listing on MLS wholesale deals. So they don't even take them down. They just list them as is.
I know. Nick does it. Nick Perry.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I know Nick does it. He told me he does it. I haven't asked him exactly how he does it yet, but there's a couple dudes who they have something in their contract where it allows them to do it.
Oh, gotcha. I thought that's, they were taking them down. That's what I thought.
No, I mean, that's a lot of inventory. I don't think he's taking.
Yeah, well, I was surprised at that. I was like, man, that's crazy. Yeah,
that's a lot of inventory to move in a month.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, but yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing right now, primarily wholesaling.
And we met. Did we meet at Raph's? No, we met at Steve's event.
Yeah, Steve's event. Yeah, it was Steve's event.
We met at Steve's event.
Yeah.
And then I met you at Raph, and then I saw you again at Raph's event.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I saw you again. I saw you. Did I see you in Houston too? Did you go to wholesaling?
No, I didn't go to that. I didn't go to. I went. I think there was another event that weekend. I went to a different event. So yeah, everyone has events now, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, but I think we saw each other. I think at a meetup too here in Phoenix too, right?
Yeah, I went at the beginning of the year. They're having that mastermind again right now.
Are you going to be here tomorrow?
No.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
No, I didn't feel like doing it. If anything, I would have gone to the thing today, but I didn't go.
I was actually going to go to that, but with the whole coronavirus thing, it's kind of, what it is too. My mother-in-law lives with us and she's in her 60s, so we got to be extra careful.
Yeah.
So
That can be scary. So
yeah,
let's
yeah, for
start
sure.
off, man. How did you even get into real estate? And then I want to talk about how you're the only other person I've seen at like all my events that I go to, and you've gone to even more than I do.
Yeah,
You're huge
yeah,
in education, and it's
yeah. I'm
blowing
huge
me
in
up,
that. Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of people ask me, like, some people actually make fun of me, right? They're like, "Man, you
right?
go to everybody's events, right?" And the thing is, I got a cousin of mine that's very wealthy. He has about, I don't know, 4,000 employees. He has a lot of employees. And I'm like, man, what was your secret? Like, how did you do it? He's like, you know what? I was humble. He goes, I listened to everybody, regardless of how successful they were or unsuccessful. I listened to their ideas and I made them my own. And bro, it's like every event I've gone to, one little thing has made a difference, so
Yep.
there's always someone doing something that you just haven't thought of, or you're not doing. And so the accumulation, all those events I've gone to, it's not only so much what you learn at the event, but it's a side conversation that you hear.
Yep.
It's like, oh shit, that's smart, and so I mean, we've done really well, just those, and we have a small team. I don't have a very high overhead. So those things have really made a difference. Just really being humble, like not thinking you know it all. You realize how much you don't know. So,
What would you say has been the best event you've gone to?
uh, I would say, it's different. For like company structure and like establishing your business. I thought Carlos and Salzaman is really good. You can't go wrong. But now they're doing more of a sales base, which is really good as well. And then for the sales process, I thought Steve's and Max event was really good. Like their sales process is on point. It's really
Oh yeah,
good. And then for a lot of the nitty gritty marketing strategies, I thought Raphael's was really good.
yeah,
So it's just not that one's better than the other. It's just like they all have their little
niche.
right? So I think they're all good. Honestly, like because I've gone to all three, or actually I've been to Millennial Flippers too, Nick and Octavius. And their event was eye opening as well. I was like, oh, okay, now I see why I'm not doing enough deals. It's all about volume. So you like every event, even if we're spending 3,000 to 5,000 per event, you're learning something that's gonna the ROI, you're gonna get it back. And so just the accumulation of all that knowledge and information has really is what's made the difference. It's not like I'm special or I'm super smart. I just kind of everything I've learned, I just compiled it, put it together, and it just made it my own.
Yep, exactly. Like people ask me, like, bro, how do you know so much? Like I just go and spend tons of money on education, and then I
Yeah,
regurgitate what people tell me.
that's exactly it. That's exactly.
That's all
That's
I do.
exactly it. That's all I do. Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So and then there's this another guy. I just got his. He had an event in Tampa, J Monopoly, and I
Okay.
was going to go, but because of the Corona, I'm not flying out. And he's like, bro, just get my 2-day course on virtual online. And so I paid for that, and I'm taking away really good nuggets that I've never even heard before. So like, there's always going to be something that you're going to learn, always. So, and I think that's made a big difference. And then just not giving up. But the big factor is you got to have a team. Like if you don't have a team in place, you're going to do 1-2 deals a month. You got to have a team in place.
And then what was I going to say? The team not giving up. There's something about J Monopoly. Oh, there's levels to this shit. Like when I went to Raphael's event, I was like, God damn, there's levels to this shit. Like I wasn't even thinking on that level.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is like you realize the different levels, and also there's a couple guys that I'm working with now. They've been in wholesaling for a year, and I don't think they've I won't say their names. They haven't done a deal in a whole year, and they've been working on it. They've been hustling. But I told them, at different levels, like because they were trying to implement and hitting the same list that the guys with 20, 30 cold callers are hitting up. I'm like,
Right.
you can't do that because you guys are a 1 or 2 man team. At every level, the game is played differently, right? So I told him, I said, the reason is because you guys are going after the same or try to implementing the same strategies that guys with 30 people, 40 people on their team are working on, because they need that. It works for them. But if you're a 1 or 2 man team, it doesn't work.
Exactly.
And so we started working together, and they locked up 3 deals last week. So I mean, it's different. Different the game of play, the strategy is different at each level, you know?
Right. Because like for us, right, we have I have a cold call company. And everybody's like, well, I've been cold calling myself for like 2 hours a day on like high equity lists. I'm like, bro, you'll never break through. Like you're just never gonna break through. I have 5 people calling for me all the time.
Yeah.
On that same list and our niche list and everything else. Like if you're only doing it for 2 hours, we have 5 people 6 hours a day.
Exactly.
Like the odds of you punching through are just not there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got to be the smaller you are, the more niche you have to be, you know, so, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
So what did you do before real estate, man?
Actually, for most of my life, I've been in the produce business. So we actually import product from Mexico, and we supply Whole Foods and Walmart here in the U.S. So the good thing is I had that business background, and then seeing that success, it's like you can't do it without a team. So that was really instrumental. I think that's kind of what has really allowed me to really grow quite a bit. But then I was in real estate in 2008. I was in real estate right before the crash. I worked for another wholesaler, and but at that time, where I was like, man, no one has equity. Everyone's upside down. Something's going on. Something's up. And sure enough, 6-8 months later, the market crashed. So I saw that. So I saw that happen. So that was pretty crazy. So I've done some flips in the past as well. So I've been involved in real estate. My best friend at the time, he was a contractor, so we started a construction company, and then we did some flips. So I've done other stuff. So I've been familiar with real estate, but the wholesale side, I think really 2 years plus now.
Okay. And then what did you do when you first got started wholesaling? Like what was your model? Who'd you learn from? Like everyone has someone who they learn from.
Yeah, well, I think my first deal I did with Carlos and Sal. So but because in 2008 I worked for a wholesaler, and actually I worked for another one in 99, as a matter of fact. And back then, it wasn't, there wasn't cold calling, there wasn't texting, it was all door knocking. And back then, you just door knock foreclosures. That's all you did.
Yep.
So what I did, I just pulled foreclosure lists, and I just hit the phones calling foreclosures. That's all I did, and that worked. And then it got to a point where like that only works to a certain level because there's only so many foreclosures, right? So then I started going to more niche lists, the code violations and the absentees and the high equities and whatnot. And that's kind of how I grew it. But initially it was with foreclosures because that's what I knew. Like I knew that process. I was very familiar with it. I bought properties at auction before, so I knew that whole process, and I knew how like to stop a foreclosure. Like I was familiar with the process, so I was able to do pretty well with those. From when I started on my own, I think it took me 10 days to get my first deal. So
wow.
But it was 3 months of education. So like I educated myself for 3 months, and then I got on the phones and just started hitting the phones and talking to people. In 10 days, I got my first deal. So I think we made 22,000 on that one. So
that's the fastest I think I've ever heard someone getting their first deal.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. But I think a big part of it, man, I really educated myself. Like for 3 months, I literally like educated myself as much as possible. And then after that, once I got on the phones, like I wasn't hitting the phones for 2 hours a day. I was hitting it for 5, 6, 7 hours a day, nonstop. I was just calling. And so it takes a certain amount of discipline and persistence. If you're not disciplined and you're not persistent, you're not going to get deals because it's a numbers game. So I mean, some guys, I hear some gurus, it took them 6 months to do a deal. So in a ways, I got lucky. But it's funny, I get my first deal in 10 days, and after that, it took me like another month and a half to get another deal.
Yep.
So it wasn't that easy. So, but then after a while, you start to kind of like, there's a guy, Brandon, I was talking to, a really good dude. He's in Orlando, and he was like, you know what? It's a recipe. Once you forgot that recipe, that's it. It's game over. So and that's true. It really is like a recipe.
Charles says after COVID, we'll have one of those the first real estate disruptors thing.
There you go. Yeah, we need to do that for sure. Yeah, I was chatting with Steve last night, and because he's posting the event, I'm like, man, you're not making it easy for me, because I literally was going to go. I mean, it's here in town. It's at the Phoenician. You can't beat that. But I just I don't want to put my family at risk.
Yeah. And so, what does your company look like now? I know you said you try and keep it super lean, and you're hitting 6 figures.
Yeah, I got one. Well, the 6 figures is not consistently. It ebbs and flows, right? But yeah,
All ebbs and flows.
yeah,
But I mean,
yeah.
still, like if you've reached that, you can at least afford the overhead to keep growing and growing.
Oh
and
yeah,
growing.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. But so I got one acquisition guy, and then I got like 2 lead managers or junior acquisitions, and then I got about 8 cold callers.
Okay.
It fluctuates, 8 to 10 cold callers. I'm going to hire a new guy starting next week, and I just let go of one guy. So
How often are you cycling through your cold callers?
not that often. They're pretty good. But what I do, like, in Mexico, they use, because my callers are in Mexico, Philippine callers I didn't do well with. They all use WhatsApp. I don't know if you're familiar with WhatsApp, right?
Yeah.
So I set up a group. And so every day I'm in touch with all my cold callers, like, how's it going? How are you guys doing? I create contests, like most dials for the month gets a prize, $50. Most qualified leads for the month gets $200 bonus.
Yep.
Every deal we close, they get $300. So like they all like me, they all love me actually, and they're always recruiting other people for me. And as long as they hustle, they do really well. I think one of my gals, I think she got 3 deals. She got paid for 3 deals in 1 month. So she made $900 in 1 month plus her salary.
Yeah.
So she's loving me right now. You know what I mean? So, and it's funny too, because then you start to learn, like, you start to see what works. I'm like, okay, this is what works. So, and then I'm starting to hire cold callers with those same traits. And so that even helps even more so. Everything is patterns, right? Everything is patterns. It's recognizing the patterns. I think one of the most, and I'll mention now because you're interviewing me, but I think one of the most impactful interviews I've heard was Will Smith. They asked him, like, how did you do this and that? And he's like, when I came to Hollywood, he was me and my manager. We looked at the top 10 grossing films of all time. And I think he said like 7 or 8 out of 10 were science fiction movies. He was like, so I specifically started trying out for science fiction movies. So I did Independence Day, I did Men in Black. I was like, shit, I thought that was like super smart, right?
Hell yeah.
And it's like it's all recognizing patterns. So if you start to recognize the patterns, like, okay, what's Carlos and Sal's doing? What's Donnie Ruffin doing? What's Raphael doing? What's, like, you recognize what these guys are doing. You start to see the patterns, and then you just replicate that pattern.
Exactly. We have a question. What marketing strategy do you think works best? I think cold calling is still awesome. I think texting's on the down, but I think cold calling still works great. And then if you can afford it, PPC.
Yeah, I agree with that. As a matter of fact, I would say 9-10 months ago, texting was better. There's one point I had 4 deals from texting, and at the time I had 0 deals from cold calling. I was about to fire all my cold callers, and then the next month I got 5 cold call deals. But now, because so many people are texting, it's not working as well as it used to. Well, between 2 things. One, it's not working as well because everyone's doing it, but also the communications companies are getting much stricter on letting those go through. So it's getting tough. Cold calling by far is the best. Although I know a lot less people are doing mail now. So I hear mail is pretty good, but I think there's nothing like cold calling.
Yep. And if you can afford mail, I mean, really, if you go through a cold calling service, you can afford mail, is my honest opinion. Like if you can afford like $1,000 to $1,200 to pay a cold calling service to do your cold calling for you, you can afford to do direct mail.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
What's going on, Raphael? This is my man.
Yeah, Raphael, he's cool. I know him.
So we have your leads managers, your cold callers. What we try and do with all of our cold callers, like we do a weekly bonus of like, all right, who had the most leads for the week? And then I think they get a $20 bonus for that. Okay. And then we incentivize Saturdays.
Gotcha.
So we try and like, okay, whoever gets the most leads on Saturday gets an extra $10, $100 per lead, $100 per closed deal. And then if they do everything right, they get an extra $20 at the end of the month, like reporting and all that other nonsense.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's how we try and incentivize our people.
Gotcha. The way I do it, like I said, I pay them like most qualified leads, right? And I tell them, and because we have a chat group, I'm like, hey guys, don't send me no bullshit leads. Right. I don't want these leads that they said, oh no, I never said I was interested in selling. I'm like, I'm telling you, that's worse than no leads. And so they kind of know, like, if they send me BS leads, they're done. You know what I mean? I take care of them. I'm really good to them, but they know how to mess around either. You know what I mean? I'm kind of a hard ass. Although I think I'm nice, but I'm kind of a hard ass. But like for me, Saturdays are mandatory. I'm like, if you want this job, you got to work Saturdays. That's just there's no discussion. That's mandatory.
See, we just have such a fucking bad attrition rate with people. Like, because
Gotcha.
we have Filipinos and people down in Mexico.
Yeah,
The Filipinos are so much easier to manage and don't
That's
have to motivate them. The people in Mexico is when we had to start to implement all these other things to get people
yeah.
to work and everything else.
It is more difficult. But if you build a relationship and you make like, man, I'll be honest, like some of them hit me up for loans. Some of them call me when they're crying and having issues. Like sometimes I'm like a therapist, so it's not easy. But it works out. At the end of the day, it works out. But I take care of them. Like if they need a loan, I'll hit them up. If they need advance, I give it to them. You know, I take care of them. And also too, I don't know. They tell me they're like, well, everyone else pays commission, but no one has ever paid a commission. Is what they tell me.
Right? Or
They're
no
like,
one
Vic,
gets paid.
yeah, they're like, Vic, like everyone says they pay commission, but you're the only one that's ever paid commissions to any of us. So, and the thing is, if they're getting a deal a month, you know, and they're getting $300, and some of them are getting 2-3 deals a month, I mean, that's really good. So it motivates them as well. So I think that really helps also.
What's going on, Ephraim? Another one of the homies.
Oh, Ephraim, yep, for sure. What's up, bro?
But yeah, motivating the Hispanic people has been really hard compared to what we usually do. And then, but yeah, the Filipinos are super easy.
Yeah,
as far as
but
that
I do.
goes.
Yeah. Filipinos, I think their work ethic. I mean, Mexicans' work ethic is good, but Filipinos is even better. But you know, because Mexicans have more of a social, you enjoy life kind of mentality, which we all know it. We've been to Mexico, and that's what it's like, right? So it's just learning how to incentivize them, you know, just kind of keeping them motivated, and you know, and eventually, like the bad ones will go away, you know.
Yep, exactly. How do you handle your attrition rate? Do you have a bunch of people in your back pocket?
Actually, it's believe it or not, now at this point, my callers recruit new callers. So if I say, hey guys, I need 2-3 callers, they'll find them. So it's pretty good actually. The thing is too now, because we're in Sonora, there's a lot of call centers now in Sonora. So there's a lot of people that, you know, are always like turning at other call centers. So it's not that hard to find them anymore. There was a time that there was really tough. It got tough. They opened up a new call center down there, so it got tough. But now if I need 1 or 2, it's not that difficult right now. Now, are they going to work out? I don't know. So
what's going on?
True, yeah, but also too, right now I'm staying away from males.
Right,
females do better than men.
We try and do females is like number one for everything.
Yeah,
and then males, but our males will be a little bit more grinders from what I've seen.
Yeah, you know what? It just depends. It depends on the person. You know, some of my girls put in more hours than the guys do, so it just depends. It just varies.
Do you cap your people how long they can work a day? Because we only do 6-hour shifts.
No, I don't, and I because there are a lot of times they want more pay, more this or that. I'm like, listen, you want more money, put in more hours, and as long as you're getting leads now, because I do track it. Like every week I have an assistant in the Philippines, so she's like my VA, so she tracks everything. So she's like, hey Vic, this person's putting a lot of hours, but he's not putting in many leads. You know, so we track that. So if we see someone putting a lot of hours and their leads are low, I'm like, and I had a conversation last week. I said, listen, bro, I said, it's been 2 weeks. You gave me 2 leads.
What?
Like, what does that tell you? Right. And I'm like, if you want, I'll let you go if that's what you want. He's like, no, man, no. And here's the thing though, the reason I didn't let him go, because right now we got 3 deals in the pipeline that are his. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes my AQ guy, he's like, hey Vic, this so-and-so, you know, let's, for example, one of them, Janet, you know, she gave me 6 bad leads this week. But then we'll go to our escrow. I'm like, yeah, bro, but like 50% of the deals in escrow are from her leads. So you want to balance that, right? Like sometimes you don't want to be black and white. You know, if they have 0 deals in the pipeline and they're generating 0 leads, and that you got to get rid of them. But if they have, maybe they have just a low point, like they're struggling, but if they got leads in the pipeline, I mean, I'll let it slide. You know, I don't want to be too strict either.
Yeah. So we have a trial period, right, of like 2 weeks, and like we expect at least 2 leads a day. We shoot for 4. But then like if they go a week without leads and like it's the trial period, more times like we just know they're not going to work out. Like,
Correct.
if they go through all our training and everything else and we get rid of them. But then if they go a week without leads, honestly, to me, like, so you're on the phone for 6 hours a day and you got nobody who said, yeah, I'll sell. Like, I don't like my aunt living in my house.
I totally agree. Yeah. But this guy, because he's brought us a lot of good leads, a lot of deals, because he's a good caller. Like, he's able to really, like, he can almost close them if he wanted to. And so because of that, I give him a chance, and and it's working out because we made money with him, so we can't, you got to look at everything, right? But yeah, I agree. Normally, like, you're gone, like, forget about it. So, but but also too, I know some, he's having some personal issues, which they all do. And so, the one thing, like, I noticed a lot of guys when COVID hit, a lot of guys like let go of their teams, and like for them, cold calling is a marketing channel, right? So they let go of their cold callers. Oh, I dropped that marketing channel because COVID, whatever, right? For whatever reason. But to me, it's like, well, yeah, it's a marketing channel, but that's my team. It's like, that's my team. Like, I'm not gonna let go of them just like that, because I've invested time in them, I've trained them, I've supported them, I've already made money with them. I'm not gonna just drop them from one day to the next. That I don't think that's good business.
Well, it was easier. So when COVID hit, I was going through a cold call company. I had.
Yeah, that's different. If it's a company, I agree. That's different.
I had like 8 callers with them.
Yeah.
I had like 8 callers with them, and then they just didn't they go from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and I didn't get a lead that day. Yeah. And COVID hit. I was like, bro.
No, that doesn't work. Yeah.
Like, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's a company, I agree. But I'm saying if it's like people that you're actually every day interacting with, that personally, on a personal level, that's different. And a company, if they're not generating leads and you're paying them, yeah, they're gone. You got to bounce them. But I already had a history with these guys, so it was a little bit different,
And so, what other marketing channels are you doing?
We do texting, we do RVM, but RVM, yeah, we do it more just to see, maybe we'll get some deals. It's not like a real major deal source. I think RVM need to do a high volume, and we're gonna probably start doing a little bit of mail. I've been thinking about broadcast, but I'm kind of debating. What do you think?
Is that what we were talking about the other day? The last time we talked?
Yeah, that broadcast where it's like that robo dialing. I don't like it, but I hear it works. So
I don't like it.
I don't like it. Yeah, I don't either. But I don't know. Maybe it works. I don't know.
Do you guys clean your list for DNC? I don't.
No, you wish. You can't. Because you're going to lose 70% of your leads. Just can't do it.
I scrub against litigators, like known litigators and everything else. But as far as like the DNC, with all of our cold calling clients, we tell them like, hey, don't scrub it. And then I'd say just don't give away your company name like out the gate and you're fine. But it's still like such a gray area. Yeah. I think the only person we know is a dude we both know, but he was like harassing people with RVMs and so he got sued.
Oh, God.
Out in Arizona. That's like only time I've ever heard of someone getting sued.
I hear you got to be really careful in Florida, is what I heard.
Cold calling?
For like RVM and texting.
I heard RVM's bad in Florida. Like it's like bad.
Yeah, I heard Florida's really strict on that. Yeah, it's really strict. I think too. You just look at the market you're in and kind of do some research on it. But yeah, but if you script for DNC, you're not gonna. You're gonna lose 70% of your leads.
You'll have no data. You'll have no data whatsoever.
Pretty much.
And so, where did you find your junior acquisitions people?
Mexico.
Mexico. Well. So they're in Mexico, and so are they leads managers, pretty much?
Pretty much, yeah. And then I got one down in Tucson, but he's more of he was a car salesman, but he's my wife's nephew, and so he's been kind of like doing junior acquisitions as well, trying to help out. I have him like follow up on just some old leads, etc. So, but it works. It works because there's been a lot of times where like there's it's funny, like a couple of weeks back, there's a lead. I was just going through my feed and my acquisition guy marked it as dead. And so I looked at the notes and then it said, oh, it's dead, not a deal. House needs to be demolished. I'm like, that's interesting. So then I Googled it and it's a brick house. It's a brick house and it was like built in the 1930s. I'm like, this isn't a demo. And I'm like, hey, dude, you might want to double check this. I said, because I think that might be a deal. And he's like, you think? I go, yeah, man, you need to analyze a little bit deeper. And so I'm like, you know what? I'll call him. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll call him. Like, you already fucked up. Let me call him. So I called him. I locked it up, and we made like 15 G's on it. So I mean, so what I do, like, to be honest, I even recycle my dead leads.
Yep.
So all my dead leads that are my hot dead leads, we recycle those as well. So we have someone else call them down the road, because if they said yes at one point, they were interested in selling, now they're dead, like something happened. So we even recycle our dead leads.
Exactly. We call our dead leads every 30 days. Like, why not?
That's smart. That's smart.
Just call them every 30 days.
Yeah, smart.
Are you active with people from Mexico, from service, or you found them yourself? I know. So what gave you the idea to go down to Mexico? Because you're the person who gave me the idea to start my call center and start sourcing them out of Mexico.
I've been thinking about a call center, but it's just too much work. No, what it is so I was talking to my wife, because I know there's a lot of call centers in Mexico. So I was talking to my wife, and then she's like, oh yeah, my nephew, he speaks perfect English. I'm like, he speaks perfect English? She's like, yeah, man, but he was born in Mexico. She's like, yeah, but he works at a call center. I'm like, hey, do you work at a call center? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what do you do? And he was like, it was something for like solar or something. He's like, yeah, dude, and we just had a call center that just shut down. They let go of 26 people. I'm like, you want a job? And so then I hired him and like 3 of his friends, and that's kind of how it started building up. So like, I'm actually thinking of like depending on what happens, like if things get crazy, I'm thinking of bumping it up to like 15, 20. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah.
What type of data are you calling, dude? Like, we have all equity. Like, that's all we can do. There's like nothing else really. We like with the amount of callers, and that's only at 5.
Yeah. Well, here's what we do. Like, we use high equity, right? But then we stack it. So I want to make sure it's an older house. I want to make sure there's some kind of motivation to it. Like maybe there's a tax default or or some kind of issue, but I make sure it's older as well. And that's kind of what we hit. And then what I do too, I go through all the zip codes, and any zip code over 300,000, I delete that data. So it's gone. I don't call anything over 300,000. And then we're in multiple markets, so that helps. But also too, like some guys maybe will hit a list 4 or 5 times and that's it. Like we don't stop. I mean, there's been lists we've called 56 times and we got a deal. But what we do, we recycle the phone numbers. Yep. So every 2 to 3 weeks, you recycle the phone numbers. So that's huge. So it's really good data. I don't want to say we list stack, but we kind of do. It's based on age and equity, and then I try to find other motivating factors. Either unknown or either just the basic code violations, etc. But we just don't stop hitting it until they tell us that yes, they want to sell or they're not interested, or like remove me from your list.
Who do you use to list stack?
So I kind of pull the data from Propstream and I just kind of filter out different stuff. But then also I use a batch leads, for my texting and whatnot.
You got a promo code you want to plug, man?
They haven't given me one. I got to talk to Jesse about that.
If you guys need a promo code, use promo code STRAT to get 50% off your first month. And Mexico callers, at least out here and in Arizona, Mexico callers are good. What platform do you use to cold call? Are you still using Call Tools? Are you a Zen Call guy?
Believe me, you're going to be surprised at this. So we use Zen Call. I didn't like it. It was too complex. We started using Call Tools. Call Tools is actually good. But what happened is Call Tools I like Call Tools more than Mojo, but Call Tools doesn't have technical support in Mexico. At least with my guys, they couldn't do it. It had to go through me, and I don't have time to get on that. I'm trying to focus on what makes money, right? So on my team in Mexico, like they were all ready to go to Call Tools from Mojo, but they're like, oh, it doesn't work. We can't set it up. We don't know how to do it. It's not working. And so we just dropped it. We're like, you know what? So we kept one guy in Call Tools. Everyone else is on Mojo. And it works. Yeah, it works.
What do you use?
I like Mojo. What was that?
The Mojo. What phone do they use to connect to Mojo?
They use Skype. And a couple of them use their cell phone. They have a special plan. They can use their cell phone. But primarily they use Skype.
Okay. Yeah. So with us, honestly, the sales, like we have a sales manager who handles everything, and it's been the best thing I've ever done. Like call tool support, we have them call off like our smartphone.
Yeah.
And talk to them about whatever nonsense we need to handle.
Gotcha. But it's a US number then that they call.
Yep.
Gotcha. And
So
maybe
we have our sales
set
manager
that up.
who can use smartphone. He'll
Yeah.
call them like, hey, we're having problems on, okay, which client's having a problem on this account?
Yeah.
What's going on? And generally it's like a Chrome issue or something else like that.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, because I think call tools is like a 10 or 20 dialer, right?
It's a 10 dialer. I personally am not at the point to where like I want like 30 lines going out at a time and then just have like people, like that many people on, just like inbound calls, outbound calls.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe when you get to like 20 people and you just have so much data to plow through that you can handle the amount of inbound calls. But we've played with it to where on one of our really, really big equity lists, we tried having all the calls come back in instead of going into a voicemail.
Yeah.
And our people couldn't make any calls out.
Gotcha.
Because so many calls were coming back in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, well, that's even one thing I noticed. Like people are like, why do you call me and then hang up on me? Because it's a dialer, right? So we get that too. But honestly, Mojo's worked. I think at some point we'll probably integrate call tools as well. And like I'm a big, like people ask me like, what do you use for your data? I'm like, well, I use Propstream, I use Property Radar, and I use List Source. I use everybody because sometimes the data is different. If what you're paying $90 a month, I mean, it's not that you can't afford it. So I use multiple sources for data. I use multiple platforms. Like I don't have an issue with that, because if you're going to be cheap with your business, I mean, it's going to affect your business,
Yep.
So, yeah.
And so is your sales guy in America or is he in Mexico?
He's here in the US.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he all virtual?
All virtual, yeah. Everyone's virtual. Yeah.
So no office. You just work from home?
No office, no. I have an office, but right now we're not even working out of it. So, but this office I have is like one man office. But yeah, right now it's all virtual. We were going to open up an office, but now it's kind of like it's not really optional right now. It's not feasible.
Yeah. Have you thought about hiring on like Mexico closers?
Yeah, I got one that's starting to do that a little bit. So like I tell her like, hey, try to go through the whole closing process, and when they're ready to close, call me. I'll close it, or I'll have our AQM close it. So like we're starting to. I'm trying to shift to getting the more I guess advanced or more intelligent closers or cold callers to become closers. That's kind of my goal, because I think that, just like Sean Terry says, you have to stack your acquisitions, right? So like, look at any big, wholesaling company that are doing 20, 30 deals a month. They got more than 2, 3 at AQMs. They got 5, 6, 7. You know what I mean? So if you want to do a lot of deals, that's kind of what you need. I mean, I don't see any way around it.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. Like for me, because I'm not at that point to where like tons and tons of leads are coming in.
Yeah.
But like 5 or 6 dudes, that's a lot. I think the only person who does is like Nick, right? I don't know what Carlson South business looks like.
Yeah.
But like Nick is the only person
I know
with like that many acquisitions people.
Yeah. But look how many deals does it do? It's like 30 deals a month, right? I heard. Yeah.
Like 30.
So I think like I'm not saying that that's what you need to do, but I'm just saying I think it's going to be hard to get to that 20 deal level with 1 or 2 guys. I think it's almost impossible. I mean, I don't know anyone that's doing it. I don't know if you do, but I don't. You know what I mean?
20
like,
deals
with 1 or 2 guys.
No.
So
no, I don't know anybody, bro.
Yeah, because it's a timing thing, right? It's like you got to make so many calls, so many offers, so many conversations, and there's only 40 hours in the week, or 50, depending on how much you like to work. There's only so many hours in the week, so at some point you need to duplicate people's efforts, and you need more people to do that. One thing I've learned, because the really super wealthy guys that I know, it's all leverage. You either got to leverage technology or people. Like there's no way around it. Everything's leverage. Everything's leverage. It's like if you're not leveraging either technology or people, you're not gonna scale. It's just not gonna happen.
What technology do you think is your biggest leverage? Like, what do you use? Any type of Podio? What do you think is like your biggest leverage in technology? And then, yeah, just that.
And technology, honestly, just having a triple dialer or a dialer. I mean, that's like, I mean, it's simple, right? That's extremely simple. but I think that's the most impactful. You know, texting as well, having a texting platform, that's big. You know, having an RVM platform, you know, like I said, we don't do a ton of deals on RVM, but you know, it works. But you know, they're just those communication platforms are huge. You can't operate without them. You know.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And then what's your goal in the next year and then 5 years? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Where are you trying to get to?
Well, my goal is to hit 10 deals a month consistently. That's kind of what my goal is. That's my 3-month target, to hit 10 deals per month every single month. And then 5-year plan, I haven't planned out that far out, but you know, maybe like a $2 million house, and that's probably it for now.
Okay.
So, but you know, eventually I want to get into apartments. You know, probably invest in apartments. You know, I think that's where the money's at. Some people are saying that rental rates are going to increase like 40% in the next 2 years, is what they're saying. Because I guess so what they're saying, what they think, a lot of people, you know, lose their homes. And so a lot of investors are going to buy the homes and start renting. And there's going to be a lot of people that are now wanting to rent a house versus buy a house. And so rental rates are going to climb. That's what, you know, some of these high level guys are saying.
I've heard the opposite.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of multifamily people are scared because there's going to just be so many rentals that it's just going to be easy. Like we can go rent anywhere, and so it's going to drive the price down.
Well, like how many people are like they're saying are going to go into foreclosure right now?
A lot,
right? I think I forgot the number. Was it like 7 million? And I think they say 30% of right now, 30% of mortgage payments have been missed this month. So let's say all those people lose their house, or like 7 million lose their house. You know, yeah, some of them unfortunately might end up on the street, but I think a lot of them are going to be renting. So I think if anything, I think the rental market's going to get tighter because there's going to be a lot more renters, in my opinion. I mean, the worse the economy gets, I think the economy might get pretty bad. This is my opinion. And the worse it gets, less people are going to be buying homes, or they're going to be renting more. And with that, when that happens, rental rates will climb. That's my opinion from what I've heard.
Multifamily is oversaturated and overpriced. You guys believe the trend will flatten out? I'm not super intelligent with this. What I see is that, like, it's happening right now in LA where nobody's paying the rent. And so you have to have so much money, and like banks are requiring like 6 months to like a year's worth of reserves to buy it. And then they're all just shitty. No one's paying. So I see prices going down eventually. I just don't know when.
Yeah, I see that. I think there's going to be a crisis point for a lot of people. I think that's why we're doing good with absentees, because they're all freaking out. They want to sell their house because they're worried. They're concerned, right? So we're doing really good because, you know, we're like, hey, the coronavirus is hit. This is the situation. You know, this is what we're expecting. That's why we're calling to see if you want to sell. We're still buying. So I think there's going to be a crisis. There's going to be a lot of people in foreclosure. There's going to be a lot of tenants that lose their homes, or not tenants, landlords that maybe lose their homes, or they try to, you know, fire sale them because their tenants aren't paying the rent. So there's going to be a crisis. I think there's going to be a drop, a low point. But then from that point forward, I think there's going to be a big uptick of rental values, because a lot of investors are going to buy those properties, and then they're going to start renting out at peak rents. And I think it's going to be the opposite. But yeah, there's some opportunities coming for sure.
How many deals a month were you guys doing when you quit your job? I never had a job. I worked for another investor. We were doing a couple deals a month, and then I was like, man, I can do this on my own. Thought I was going to do a couple deals a month on my own. Went completely broke. And then I got a solar job. And as soon as I did like one deal, I just left that. I was like, all right, I got my money again. Like, I'm good. I think if you just bet on yourself and go for it, if you have the security or like the savings or whatever, if you're single, I just do it that way.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I think you're better off. Like Jim Rome says, you have to work for profit, not for wages. So work for profits, not for wages. That's the key.
And what markets are you in? You're still in Arizona. Are you in Tucson?
Yeah, so all Arizona. So we did a deal in Flagstaff. We tried Sedona, but Sedona's hard, right? It's kind of tough. Tucson, Phoenix, Metro Phoenix. We're doing Texas.
What part of Texas?
Dallas, Fort Worth, and San Antonio. And then we're looking to start up again in Orlando and Tampa.
Wow.
Yeah. But the thing is, because I like to be very niche on my list. We look for motivation, like high motivation. And so there's only so much motivation in each market. And that's the whole thing behind other markets. I understand a lot of guys are like, oh yeah, let's do big lists, and it works, right? If you got 30, 40 callers or 20 callers, but like when you don't have that big of a team, or if it's your one or two man show, you got to really hit a motivated list. So the only way to do that is to be in multiple markets, my opinion.
Yep. I like that mentality. I've never even thought about it that way, but you're 100% right. What mentorship programs do you guys recommend? Honestly, man, it depends on your budget. I think Steve's is really good if you're just starting out. Who else is good if you're just starting out? Who would you say like the best one is? I think Steve's covers a decent amount of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Steve's is good. I think Carlos and Sal have an event called Freedom, which is like the starter point, and it's only like $500. I think that's really good too. I think for starters, I think that's good. So I mean, I'll be honest, Sean Terry's 50 Freedom is really good as well. So it just depends on what you want. If you're serious about making this a business, you're not going to just buy one mentorship program though, or you're not going to invest in one course. Like literally, man, I got Jalen White's, I got Sean Terry's, I got Alex Sainz, I got Steve Trang's, I got Carl, I got everybody's. Like, because when you hear about it, these guys making a ton of money, like, why aren't you going to study them? Why aren't you going to learn what they're doing? You're not going to spend $300, $400, $1,000 to learn what they're doing and making them successful. Like, if you don't want to invest that money, then you're really not interested in success, in my opinion.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't just say one. Like, try to find all the ones that you're attracted to, and then just dig in.
I think you got to vibe with them too. Like
exactly. You have to be an attraction. Yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%. Yeah.
And then what markets are you in? He already went over that. All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on, bro.
No worries, brother. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. This wasn't as nerve-wracking as I expected.
I just try and talk to you, man. I mean, nothing else. It's just like our other 45-minute phone calls that we have.
Yeah, cool. Awesome, man. Really good stuff. I appreciate it.
All right, bro. Thank you so much.
All right, bro. We'll talk soon.
Closing words, parting words?
You know what? It's just consistency, persistence, and don't give up. That's it.
Hell yeah.
That's it. I mean, I think mindset is big, right? Which is consistency, don't give up, visualize, etc. And strategy is a big part of it. People don't talk about. But guess what? This is a strategy. Everybody knows that. I mean, there's no better way. Dude, I've done Amazon. I used to make really good money on Amazon, and then Amazon killed my deal. They removed my reviews. So I've done that. So this is like the easiest cash flow there is, in my opinion. Wow. I've had I used to own a produce company. Man, I killed myself. And I owned the business, and I used to supply all the major restaurants in Scottsdale and Tempe, all the really nice places. And we did really well. We had, it was a pretty good big company, and I still didn't make as much money as we make now. So, this is the strategy.
Of course, thank you guys for watching. If this is on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And then if you guys are looking for cold callers, go to callmagicians.com or any type of VAs. We supply them all, and we're doing fantastic with it. We have people closing deals. We just had one of our cold callers close the deal for one of our clients. He's going to make 10 grand.
Nice.
All Spanish.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. That's awesome.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, man. Take care, bro. It's good seeing you.